Hello and welcome to Da-Mark.com. In this tutorial we'll cover how a consumer would evaluate tender responses and also how to accept or reject them. So let's go ahead and log in as Jason Gordy, a consumer on Da-Mark.com, and see what sort of responses he has to his request for 100 cupcakes. As you can see on his notifications tab, he has 3 pending tender responses to his request for 100 cupcakes. You can click on each to view. Let's click on Susan Baker. Here we can see a tender response from Susan Baker with the details of her offering. We can also view her original tender request under the associated request details. If we need to add more information, we can chat directly to the supplier via the Systems Messaging app under the Associated Messagings tab. So we can see that there is some information already from the supplier saying if we have any preferences to wrapping color. So let's say that we have a preference for white. So as you can see, that's now been sent to Susan Baker, and we can now close this message. We can also go and remove the notifications from the notifications tabs, as they are only notifications, by clicking on the X. Let's click on the My Tenders tab. Now again, you can see in the table there's the tender request, the original one we sent out for 100 cupcakes. If you click on that, and you can see again this is the original request that we sent out, and if we go under tender responses, we can see our 4 responses. So let's click on Vanilla Frost Confectioners and have a look. So this is now this is their tender response. We can see there that they are happy to do it. The cost though is 1,200, so that's a bit more than I wanted to pay, so let's go ahead and reject it straight away. So if we close this tab, and if we go back into our tender request again, and we go under our tender responses, so we can see that Vanilla Frost Confectioners, we've rejected it. So let's go ahead and look at Susan Baker's one. So this one, you can see 100 cupcakes, they're happy to deliver it, cost is 600 Rand, and we can have a look at any messaging at the bottom there. Let's see if there's anything. And okay, great. So she would like the white one, Jason Gordy would like the white one, and that's so. Let's just go back. We can close, or we can go back, whichever one. We can use that back button, and so if we select it, and we're going to accept this one. So let's click accept. And if we close this, and you can see now that it's been concluded by the status. So beforehand it was sitting as pending. It's now been concluded. Just click on it again. And if we go back to our tender responses, you can see that Susan Baker's one's been accepted. All of the others have been set to rejected. And we are then able to close this. again, and so basically, as you can see there, all suppliers are sent tender responses, and they're all informed of their individual outcomes. The only person able to see and evaluate all tender responses is the person who sent the request, and suppliers are not aware of who else has responded to your initial request. Once a response has been rejected, the system will not allow for any further correspondence, so you don't need to worry about being harassed once you have rejected one. So thank you very much for following this tutorial, and I hope you enjoy using Da-Mark.com. If you would like to get an in-depth overview of how to send a tender response, please watch other videos in the tutorial section under the help section of Da-Mark.com.